Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
David, we'll let you make the introduction and we'll let you take over.
Okay.
Oh, there we go.
Welcome to Barry Wanser, Senior Manager of Racing Operations at Chip Ganassi Racing, Alex Palou, three-time INDYCAR Champion, and Mike Hull, Managing Director of Chip Ganassi Racing. Thank you, gentlemen, for showing up and ready to spread your genius around, because there's a lot to talk about. A fantastic season, yeah, I would like to start with Mike first of all and ask how Chip Ganassi Racing's 16th IndyCar title ranks among the team's list of accolades.
Wow. A long time ago, when we architecturally started building this team, we didn't really think about 16 times. And if we stopped to think about that, that would be very paralyzing, frankly. I think the culture here has always been being prepared fully for the next race. And you read about that in other sports, about the process. You see that in football, you see it in golf, you see it in baseball, you see it in tennis, you see it everywhere. I think that's the basic fundamental of who Chip Ganassi is, what Chip Ganassi has become. For me personally, when I come back from a race that we've won, I'm scared to death that we'll never win another race, frankly. So that's what drives me, and I think our people are driven by the same measure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there was that famous quote about being weighed and measured and come up wanting. You know, we just want to work really hard when we're weighed and measured against the best in the business, and we're not wanting. And I think that defines who we are.
And Alex, how do you rate your third title compared with your first and your second? I mean, the fact that you've packed 3 in just 4 years is ridiculous. But you know, I mean, congratulations. But yeah,
thank you.
How would you rate it compared with your previous 2?
Yeah, morning everyone. It's hard to rate. It's hard to compare the seasons. It's hard to compare always the years. Every year is tougher in like different ways. For me, this one was the most special. I think that doing it once, it's very tough, but repeating it, and especially doing it back to back, it just feels like it's tougher. It just goes more difficult and more difficult to try and stay the best after one season. So on top of that, I had my daughter with me this year for the first time, so that made it special. But I would say that the fact that we're capable of going back to back, it made it extraordinary. So it was a super fun year. We had a lot of up and downs compared to like 2023, for example, and we didn't know until the end if we're gonna be able to win it or not. But I think that passing through some tough moments, like starting 24th on the last race of the season on an oval, that made made the emotion afterwards really sweet. So yeah, it's been incredible. As Mike said, I don't know if we're scared of not winning again, but we are like, man, we need to do it again. Like we need to make sure that everybody, the mechanics, the engineers, management, and especially myself, the drivers, that we're capable of going back the next weekend and trying to be the best again. So it's super tough in IndyCar. We only won 2 races that counted for points last year, but still we got the championship, which was the best thing.
Absolutely. And Barry, there was only one year under Alex's belt when he joined you from Dale Coyne, but already he seemed very mature. It was possibly the year in Super Formula that really got him up to speed. But I still feel that like there's even more potential. How would you rate 2021 Palou to 2024 Palou?
Good morning, everybody. So, David, you want me to brag about Alex a little bit here? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
When he came to us in 2021, we certainly saw from what he did in his first year in INDYCAR with Dale Coyne Racing that he possessed some talent. And at Chip Ganassi Racing, it's like, all right, let's give this young driver an opportunity to see what we can do together. And certainly in 2021, we came out of the gates pretty strong with the win at Barber, and then just consistent running, consistent qualifying certainly helped us achieve the first championship with Alex in 21. But certainly since then, he's learned so much. He's constantly learning in the car, out of the car, in the simulators, spending time with the team, and just absorbing what it takes to actually be a champion. And to, like Alex said, really to back up his first championship with a second one, and then certainly what we accomplished this year, and what Alex as well accomplished is just incredible with back-to-back championships, especially this year. It's definitely, I agree with Alex, it's the most rewarding championship of the three this year, because we did have a lot of setbacks, a lot of challenges to overcome, and not just Alex, but the entire team, rallied behind everything, and we came out on top, which was pretty amazing. But I mean, it's the off season is too short, and we can't wait to get back to the racetrack, and we want to continue to win. So that's our goal. That's our expectation, is to go to the track with the confidence to continue winning. It's what we love. Racing is what we do, and we're looking forward to doing more of that with Alex.
Absolutely. Do you obviously someone at the Scott Dixon end of the at the end of not twilight, sunset years, his improvements are going to be infinitesimal year to year to year. But what do you think, Alex, at the age of 27, where do you feel he's still got room for improvement? And I'm going to ask Alex the same thing. But where do you feel like there can be room for improvement to make you win, I don't know, 4 consecutive IndyCar titles?
When I look at it, what it takes to improve, or what the improvement needed, I think that's across the board, not just for what Alex is learning every day in the car or the simulator, but also the communication and what's required with the team, from engineering to improve the cars, to be in a position to qualify further up front. It's hard to win in IndyCar, and it's these little things that add up tremendously to give you an edge. And it's an edge in IndyCar is a very slight edge, but you'll take it. But that's with good communication, the team performance, our qualifying could be better. But it's not just a team thing, it's also a driver thing. It's that relationship the driver has with his engineer, with the engineering staff, what it takes, everything from the dampers to the setups, the collaboration between all the engineers on the test items, with short sessions that we do amongst all the cars. I think we need to continue that and improve our overall performance.
Mike, do you think that Alex can become even better?
I was thinking about that as you asked that question of Barry. If you study IndyCar racing, David, from the very beginning of IndyCar racing, and not too many people probably do that, they just live in the present. So they only see what we see today. And Barry said it, it's a very competitive situation. It's always been a measure of that. What drivers like Alex do or have done from the very beginning of IndyCar racing is they have raced for a team that provides the resource for them to win, and they haven't forgotten where they came from.
Right.
And Chip Ganassi Racing has been very fortunate because it has an owner who sees that in race drivers. Not all owners really understand that the instinctive nature that drivers like Alex provide to be a separator as a team member. And what that means is they're totally unselfish, number one. Number two, they share with their teammates. And number three, they operate on a level playing field, a level plane with the people who work on the race car, whether it be the person who is the communication director, whether it's the technician that works in the sub-assembly shop that never travels to the racetrack, whether it be the person who drives a transporter, whether it be the engineer. Let's face it, some people's names are recognized because they get more notoriety because they're given all the credit. The driver gets the credit, the lead engineer gets the credit, the strategist gets the credit, the owner gets the credit, but the reality is the credit goes to the entire team. So that rolls back to the driver. The driver, if he or she remember where they came from, the team is very successful for a long period of time.
Yeah.
What happens in motor racing, and we see it, is the fastest way to win a race is to copy what the people are doing that wins. The way to win a lot of races is to continue to change the way that you race while you're winning. And drivers, in Alex's case especially, what they do is they're not afraid to change their drive style. They're not afraid. They have a very open mind about what they do because they realize that the driver next door on the grid is already copying them because they want to win. That's what separates Alex, Dixon, other drivers that we've had in the past from the beginning of our time in IndyCar racing from the rest.
Alex, do you feel like there are areas where you could be even better?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I would say that's the beauty of motorsport as well, that you can always break, I don't know, 1 feet deeper, or you can go on throttle just a little bit earlier, or just rolling more speed. Like, yeah, you can always do stuff better, which is what I love. I love trying to improve. And I would say, as Barry and Mike said, that's also in the team's culture. Like the team as well could just say, they could just give up and say, oh, we won, I don't know, 2 championships. We have the best car, we have the best team. That's it. We don't need anything else. But I think everybody's pushing the limits a little bit more, and I do the same. Like, there's plenty of areas where I know and I want to improve. But just a really simple one is like, I've never won on an oval, so I need to start by that. It's a simple one to understand. I think we've been a lot closer, and I've been trying to push during the off season myself. Like, that's not related to the team at all. It's more like driving wise, how can I be a little bit better? How can I be a bit more comfortable? But then if you go to road courses and street courses, it's always the same. How can I just brake a little bit better? How can I just extract a little bit more from the car? Because I mean, you've seen on all qualifyings and all races in IndyCar, everything, it's so tight that if you can get just, I don't know, half a tenth better every year, you're gonna probably have a great season at the end. So yeah, that's I think I can improve on many areas. And I'll start with the oval one for sure, that we need to get a win, and I cannot wait for that.
Okay. Yeah, no, you're right about the margins for no obvious reason, but because I'm a sad geek. I was looking at the stats from Portland, and second practice, the top 26 cars were covered by 0.8 of a second, which is ridiculous.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's crazy.
My sneezes take longer than the difference between the fastest and the 26th fastest guy. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
I think it's the beauty of IndyCar as well, that everybody has the same machinery, and if the team can give you just a little bit more feel on the car, or they can just put that extra energy on that car, the mechanics, like, you know, when they build a car, if they can build it just a little bit better than everybody else, it might be half a tenth. And then if the engineer can do the same with the setup and the strategies, and I can also do, like, I would say that the drivers, especially in qualifying, they have more to do. Like, I need to do the lap now, otherwise there's no more time, and you can be out in Q1 and that's it. Your weekend is going to be a lot more uphill from there. So it's yeah, I think that's what keeps us all pushing so hard, and also into IndyCar and motorsport.
Looking back at the season, obviously there's wins, but there's also, you know, the consistent top fives and that kind of thing. What do you consider the key races? Are they the ones where you score a result kind of out of nowhere, like from somewhere near the back of the grid for whatever reason, be it an engine change penalty or you know, bad luck in qualifying? Are they the ones that are the key races, like charging from the back, or are the ones in which you maximize everything, like, you know, pole, fastest lap, victory, which I think, I can't remember if he got fastest lap at Laguna Seca, but as soon as he got pole, I was like, oh, well, he's won the race. What's
I would say both, man. Like, if you have the feelings and you're fast that weekend, and you have a car that is capable of winning, you need to win. Like, you cannot give up the points that a win gives you. And the same goes for when you're having a bad weekend. It's not the same to finish 10th than 9th. Like, maybe those 2 or 3 points, they add up. After maybe 6 races of bad, it's 15 points. So it's a lot of points. I would say it's a combination of everything. I would say that this team in CGR, they've been giving me a lot of chances when maybe I'm not there, I'm not on the limit, I'm not extracting everything from the car. They can sometimes get me from 12 to a P6 on strategies, on like calls, on just making sure that they also maximize everything from the race. And that's been counting a lot. I would say those minimizing damage and trying to get those 3 or 4 extra points every race, it's been paying a big difference at the end of the year.
Mike, Alex has now completed 5 seasons in IndyCar and won 3 championships. And it's easy to say that the keys to those titles have been his consistency and also, of course, the team's consistency. But I mean, I would go further and say that it's the almost complete absence of fundamental errors that makes him unique at this stage of his career. In your experience as a paddock insider, and even before that as a fan, can you remember any of the ace IndyCar drivers who made so few errors at this age in his career? I don't want to get you getting a big head, Alex, but it's just true. If you look back at the stats, it's astounding.
I am already. I'm already. I like this kind of Zoom meetings we can.
Well, his teammate, Scott Dixon, at his age versus Alex's age, was doing the same thing.
Right.
And his championships were a little further apart, but very, very similar in terms of what you're saying. That for us is in first person at Chip Ganassi Racing. Young drivers that I've seen in my lifetime in IndyCar racing, Rick Mears comes to mind immediately for me. And the series was different then in the terms that it had, you know, you mentioned ovals with Alex. You know, in the years that Rick was racing for Roger Penske, it was predominantly an oval series.
Hmm.
So he won a lot of ovals.
Yeah.
If the IndyCar series today were 50 or 60% ovals, Alex would have won ovals by now.
Right. Gotcha.
Because it's a law of averages thing also. It isn't just technique. It isn't all the rest of that. We don't get to test anymore, frankly. You don't get to develop your craft as a race driver until you show up for one practice session on Friday, and then you go straight into qualifying, and then you race. So it's very, very different today than what it once was. But I would say Rick Mears, Jacques Villeneuve, when he came to IndyCar racing, was very, very similar, although he left quickly.
Right.
Had he stayed, I think you would have seen the same thing with him at the time that you saw with Dixon, or you presently see with Alex, and also Greg Moore, for that matter.
Right. Yeah.
I would think those are the ones for me that come to mind immediately when you ask that question.
That's good comparisons. Excellent. Barry, introduction of the hybrid system mid-season, which is brave on everyone's part, I'd have thought, but it didn't appear to shuffle the team hierarchy, and thankfully it didn't have an effect on the outcome of the championship, in my opinion, anyway. But it did give you a couple of heart-stopping moments. We had Dixie breaking down on the warm-up lap at Mid-Ohio, and then Alex's gut punch at Milwaukee. Did you get to the bottom of these glitches?
Yeah, absolutely. Certainly, the introduction of the hybrid system was a huge success. Unfortunately, we were just the first victim of a failure. In racing, you're always pushing performance and technology and new technology, and there was a substantial amount of development that went into ensuring that the hybrid system was ready to race by IndyCar, and certainly Honda and Chevrolet. Everyone worked together to make that happen. Certainly the analysis after Scott's issue, that's been addressed to prevent that from happening again. That certainly impacted him for points for that event. But as far as Alex's issue that we had at Milwaukee, after the event, it was determined that the hybrid system was not a cause of the failure we had. We had a battery failure. Just the car battery has an internal circuit board and a capacitor had failed. Something completely out of the ordinary, very unexpected, and that would have happened regardless of whether the hybrid system was in the car or not. It was not influenced by any outside sources. So, but I think you look at it across the board, the hybrid system was a huge success. I mean, obviously, it's like you say, it really didn't change the hierarchy, but I can tell you there's some drivers that adapted to it better than others, because there's a lot more options now, and they're busier. And I defer to Alex to talk more about that. But I think it was a huge success for IndyCar and for what the world is looking at for future for automobiles.
Yeah. Alex, how much more complicated is life as a driver with a hybrid unit, both in the cockpit and in post-session debriefs?
Yeah, it's a lot more work, I would say, for everybody, especially in the cockpit. Like, you need to be every lap doing a lot more stuff with your steering wheel. Like, you need to be regenning whenever you want. You need to deploy manually all the time. And that just resets every single lap. So you need to do not only the normal stuff that we already do in IndyCar, but then you need to be pressing a button to get a little bit of power, which is not crazy, but it's just enough that you need to use it for sure. So it's actually it's very fun. Honestly, I think everybody likes it in terms of like drivers, just because you can also do a little like more differences with other drivers when it comes to racecraft. You can try and, I don't know, just keep your energy for some other corners and try and overtake. It's not been a huge difference, but it's been good enough that maybe you can pull a difficult overtake. And then in terms of debriefs, I would say at the beginning of the hybrid, like Mid Ohio and the next 2 or 3 races, I would say everybody was always focused on the hybrid, like where do we regen, where do we deploy, and then at the end of the season we went towards like, okay, let's focus again on the principles and the basics, and hybrid is just part of it. Like it's not the it's not the main thing or the biggest thing. So yeah, it's just a little bit more work, which I think both the engineers and the drivers like. So yeah, we're excited. It's been good. Honestly, it's been better than we expected as drivers as well.
Right. And Barry, obviously, with it coming online in the middle of the season, there's the first half of the 2025 schedule. There's a lot of tracks where you haven't run the car with the energy recovery, and some of them, like St. Pete and Long Beach and Detroit, are tracks where you can't test. So how good are the simulators at providing an accurate read of how best to optimize the ERS at those tracks?
I defer to Alex since he's the one sitting in the simulator. And obviously he has the experience of the tracks we've actually raced at and actually be able to simulate that. But as far as the tracks we haven't raced the hybrid yet, I mean, I think it's going to be fairly seamless. I mean, I think we're pretty up to speed on what it takes to maximize the performance of the hybrid system. I think the biggest unknown we're all going to be facing will be the Indianapolis 500. So for Indy qualifying, how the hybrid is used in qualifying is going to be interesting, and then certainly how much of it impacts the race. But as far as the other races and the simulator, I would defer to Alex since he's the one sitting in it.
Yeah, is the sim good, and does it already feel a good indicator of how the car behaves with the hybrid system?
Yeah, honestly, it's exactly the same. Like we did a lot of back-to-back, especially at the beginning. And HRC was like doing all the simulations, like trying to make it as close as possible. But I would say nowadays it's exactly the same. Like the difference between having the hybrid or not in the sim or in reality, it was the same. Like it made the car balance change on the same way, and it makes the driver do the same stuff. Like when we're on the simulator, we're doing exactly the same things with the controls as we would do on the real track, and it actually feels the same way.
Right, amazing.
Yeah.
Mike, given well, actually, before we move on to 2025, let's talk about Cadillac Racing Program, in which Chip Ganassi Racing played a central role for the past 4 seasons. Obviously, you signed off with the flourish at Petit Le Mans, which is wonderful. What would you say was the highlight of the program with Cadillac? Was it that win, or was it Sebring in 22, or winning in front of GM's top brass for 2 straight years at Detroit? You can say all of the above.
Yeah, I would say all the above. First of all, Cadillac is a terrific partner. General Motors has been very, very supportive of Chip Ganassi Racing for a long, long time, and in many ways, both at the track and away. And I don't want to make it a public relations statement. That's a reality. There's a quote, and I think about it from time to time. I saw it in a video clip, and then I went and found it to read it, from Tiger Woods. He was asked one at some point when he was on the West Coast. I don't know if it was the LA Open or San Diego Open. He was playing when he was young, and he was first playing golf, and he was winning. And a beat reporter asked him the question, what would it be like for you to win our tournament here? And his response was that he would not get remembered for winning that tournament. In his career, he's only going to be remembered for winning major championships. And some of the questions that you've asked this morning reflect that very clearly. Alex winning 3 championships.
Yes.
In sports car racing, we've been very, very fortunate. We're remembered for winning Le Mans. We're remembered for winning Daytona several times.
Yep.
I don't know how many, but several.
Yeah.
We're remembered for winning Sebring more than once, and winning the Petit Le Mans race. If you've been there, and David, I know you have, if you've been there and seen how dark it is in the last 3 hours of that race, to win that race with or without headlights is extraordinary. So that was a big win. It would be a
Yeah.
big win for anybody, but it was a big win for Chip Ganassi Racing, and it just happened to fall on being our last race with Cadillac.
Yeah.
It's great to win races. It's great to win big races, and that's how we'll be remembered. Alex is introduced as a 3-time champion.
Yeah.
He's not introduced by saying he just won this race. And I think that's the clear distinction, and that's the separation point between great athletes in any sport and athletes who are pretty good at what they do and occasionally win.
Yes.
So Cadillac has been a terrific partner of ours. Hopefully someday they will be again. But it's important to win big races, which includes Petit.
Right. And Alex, did you you're brought onto the sports car team occasionally and have looked very, very good. Do these sports prototypes intrigue you? And how satisfying was it to race at Le Mans for the first time?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I love to race anything. Like I would race, I don't know, cars
Don't
without
say it,
engines if
because
I have to,
Ganassi
but
might put you in something really weird.
that's fine. Yeah, I'll be up for that. Yeah, honestly, it's been super fun. I did Daytona obviously and Le Mans. Daytona we were a little bit unlucky with some failures, but Le Mans was amazing. My first time there. It's like 3 to 4 hours away from my hometown where I grew up, so it actually felt like I was at home. I had
Wow.
lots of friends that were able to just go there and see me race. So it was fun because of that. And then the race as well. We had a lot of mixed conditions with wet, dry, mixed, and it was fun. At some point, it was like an hour and a half, 2 hours to go, and we were leading. I thought we had a really good shot at winning the race, but then we just didn't have the pace at the end. But still, it was amazing. I think the endurance racing, it's obviously a different style. The mindset especially, and all the up and downs that you go through during a race, because it's one day of racing, it's crazy. And the amount of effort you need to put for just one single event, it's tremendous. So yeah, I love it. I love it to do it alongside the INDYCAR program, obviously. And it's still driving like really fast and really fun cars, like especially nowadays with all the hybrid system they have as well, and sharing the car with amazing drivers, like the exact same car, like you just need to change drivers. It's really fun. So yeah, I love it.
Excellent. Barry, obviously the Cadillac program's ended and the IndyCar team will go from 5 to 3 entries in 2025. But on the other hand, you're now in the Indy Next Championship. How complicated has it been to switch over to the Indy Next cars?
Well, I don't think it's been complicated, but I think as we do every year, we look at the programs we have and move people around to strengthen those programs to make sure we have the strongest people. Gives other people opportunity maybe to move up in the company. And but as far as Indy Next, it's really you know, we're new to it. We only did it 1 year, quite a few years ago. But as far as with
Okay.
this era of car, it's all new to us. You know, we ordered 2 new cars from Dallara, and you know, it's a whole lot of other parts we get in the building, and I'd say it's gone a lot smoother than expected with a new program. And we are getting ready to do our first test on Monday at NOLA. So it'll be a good opportunity to shake down the cars. And again, you know, anytime you change programs within the building, it's all about moving people around, and that's what we've done over the years at Chip Ganassi Racing, and move people around. And no one group of people is ever the same every year. Like, there's always some changes, either by design or unexpectedly. So as always, we just strengthen the programs and move on and go to the racetrack. It's going to be fun to be part of the Indy Next series, to have those young drivers at the track embedded with us for the IndyCar program, to show them what it takes also for the next level, to get out of Indy Next and move up in IndyCar. Be able to hang out with a guy like Scott Dixon and Alex Palou is pretty amazing.
Yeah,
For a
absolutely.
young driver.
Yeah.
It's not amazing for me, but it is for a young driver.
Yeah, is the idea to also bring on those engineers and have them learn alongside you know, the engineers that are in IndyCar as well? You know, is basically you also bringing up young engineers and mechanics through the ranks from junior formula to IndyCar.
Yeah, absolutely. We're always looking to develop people, you know, the engineers, the mechanics. It's, you know, one of our greatest resources is our experienced people, and that's what we use to help everybody do the best they can to have the best performance, and go to the racetrack and show what we're capable of. And that's what we do, and that's what we'll continue to do.
And Mike, what do you believe is a reasonable ambition? See if I can put my teeth in. What do you believe is a reasonable ambition for the Indy Next team in its first? Let's say it's its first year back after, I think, what, 14 years.
Yeah, I think the ambition is what Chip Ganassi Racing's ambition is on a daily basis, and that is to get the most out of today.
Mm.
When we go to NOLA on Monday to test, we want to come away from that day knowing that we got everything we could get out of the cars and all the people, the resources that we have there in combination, the most out of the day. If we've done that, we've won.
Right.
In order to be a winning organization, you have to define winning by doing it that way. And sometimes the scoreboard doesn't show it, but if we can show it on our cultural scoreboard, then we have won. And I think that's the key, David.
Okay. Alex, will you be on hand to mentor young drivers? I know that's a bit rich considering that you're only 27 at the moment. You're not so old yourself, but are you happy to help you know, the less experienced drivers?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's like the team is all at the same place. All of the drivers, the engineers and mechanics and everybody. So yeah, if I can help in any ways, I'll be willing to help, obviously, and trying to give some feedback to the drivers. I think it's also good for us when we go to some tracks and they go out first, and they can give us some information about how the track is, like if it changed since. Obviously we don't have data or any feedback from the past years, but I think we will see that in the future. It'll be a good help also for the IndyCar team. So obviously, if any driver in the Indy Next program at CGR needs any help, I think Dixon and I and Kiffin will be more than open to just give them some stuff, but as I said, they can also help us in different ways.
Excellent. Obviously, your primary job in 2025 is not going to be mentoring young drivers, but actually trying to nail down the fourth title. Are you happy that the Thermal Club is going to be a points-paying race this year? Because, I mean, you and you and your teammates kind of dominated. You locked out the front row, as I recall, last year. So and it didn't even look close, to be honest. Are you optimistic that there's going to be a place where you can shine again?
Yeah, 100%. I was we're all sad a little bit that we won and that it didn't show up on the standings.
Yeah,
It was fun, but we actually raced to try and get as many points as possible. So it's we're looking forward to having it in the calendar as a normal race. I love the track. Obviously, I love it even more because we won there and we know that we can be competitive. But yeah, it was weird. It was we actually struggled a little bit during the testing that we had before. And then suddenly everything came together right before qualifying and we started feeling really comfortable with the car. It was Armstrong actually that
yes,
that was also super fast and we were on the front row. So yeah, we're excited and hopefully we can repeat that. It's always really tough to repeat on tracks that you've won before, but obviously we know we have a great base and we can start from there and try and improve just some little areas.
yeah. It's a shame. It's a shame it's come at the expense of one of the Milwaukee rounds, because it goes back to what Mike was saying about like how few ovals there are. There's one less opportunity for you to get your first oval, but you never know. You
It's
might be.
okay. It's okay. We we like that. It's
Yeah.
fine. And we can still win the Indy 500. So it's
Yes.
as long as obviously we don't take that one, we're happy. And it's true that it's tougher nowadays because of the testing. Like yeah, we get I think 1 day of testing in the oval that it's not the 500. And it makes it tough for the driver to just try and push yourself because as Mike mentioned, we only have one session now of
Yeah.
practice during the race weekends, and by the time you go out, you do a general engine check and you get up to speed. You only have I don't know like couple of runs to try some stuff, so you don't really get to get much track time behind you on the ovals nowadays. But yeah, anyway, it's not an excuse. I think we've been I've been improving a lot and feeling more comfortable, which I think that was the biggest thing. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Right. Mike, Barry, we've seen the battle between yourselves and Penske. I mean, obviously, there's others that are, often are fighting for victory, like McLaren and Andretti Autosport. But generally, the championship, the consistency that's required for a championship, we've seen the power struggles between yourselves and Penske, flip-flop back and forth over the year. I think one of the reasons that Alex's latest championship was so impressive is that I think there were more times this past year where Penske was stronger, and you got Alex and your team had to overcome greater odds perhaps than you've had in the past. Do you see yourselves? Is there enough capacity within the cars or enough room for maneuver to regain an edge over Penske and have a technical superiority in the year ahead?
I'll let Barry
Silence
take.
there. I spoke for too long.
You asked for Mike and Barry. I think Barry should answer that question, David.
Right.
It's obviously there, like you mentioned. I mean, we're racing against everybody every weekend, right? And all of the teams are strong. Certainly, our biggest competitor has been Penske Racing for the championships, but we're working hard. I mean, we talked about Mike talked about the culture at Chip Ganassi Racing, and our core group of people that instill in everybody else, like the trophies are great. but they don't guarantee future success. We have to continue to work hard. We have to continue to develop the cars, improve our product, because we know everyone else is doing the same thing. So that's what we're doing this off season, to make the cars better, to improve performance, improve the pit stops, everything. We look at everything. Nothing's ever perfect,
Yeah.
and that's what the culture of Chip Ganassi Racing is about. It's improving everybody, everything that we bring to the racetrack to give us the greatest chance of beating our competitors, and they're strong competitors.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's face it, David. Penske had a 20-year head start on Chip, you know. And when we started on this journey here, we were in the same race. We didn't race against them. We raced with them, but not against them.
Right.
And that didn't come overnight. That took with a lot, that was a lot of hard work to get there. And now to be weighed and measured with their accomplishments versus ours. People like myself or Barry someday will look back on that and realize the importance of it. I think we're living it at the moment. So we're just fighting really, really hard not to be one up on them, just to be able to continue to race equally with them. And there have been people who have come and gone from time to time in IndyCar racing, but I think that's the measure of Roger Penske's team. What he has done, what he drives to do is really in parallel to what Chip does. They look at things completely differently, but they look at results.
Yeah.
And that's really what we're talking about, is results. Our average in winning the championship is pretty good.
Yeah, no, it's astounding.
But I'm very envious of what Roger Penske has done at Indianapolis.
Yeah.
And that's where we need to go next.
Right. Well, to that point, Alex, obviously you're out to earn a fourth IndyCar crown, but as the seasons tick on, is winning at an oval, and in particular Indy, have they become like an increasing priority for you now?
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, it's not that I'm only focused on that, but yeah, I would say obviously is the priority, and it's also the first goal. Like Chip and Mike always gives us only 2 goals, which it's very nice of them that they only give us 2 goals to achieve during the year, which is to win the Indy 500 and the championship. So the good thing is that the 500 comes first. So you can, let's say, you can focus on that one at the beginning of the season. And once that's done, if you've won it, perfect. Otherwise, you focus on the championship. So we've been close. Like, we had the best cars for the first, I would say, three years that I've been with the team. This year we struggled a little bit more, but the other 3 years, I thought and I truly believe that we had the fastest cars, and for one reason or another, we were not able to win. So yeah, inexperience a little bit at the beginning, a little bit of good about luck in 22 and 23, but still I feel good that we're always knocking on that door, and it will open. I don't know if it will be 25 or 26, but it'll be open soon for us. So yeah, the team is pushing hard. Obviously, you know, everybody that works in IndyCar, their primary focus is always the 500, just because of the history, the feeling that you get when you're at the 500 with all the fans there, and how hard it is to win. So it's my priority, and hopefully we can bring one to the team.
Absolutely. Gentlemen, I'd like to ask about the 2027 next generation car, maybe new formula altogether. Have you all been consulted by INDYCAR regarding that car? I mean, I'd have thought that obviously, you know, three principal figures in Chip Ganassi Racing would have been consulted, but what would you say the priorities have to be for that car? And I'm assuming making the car lighter is one of them, but what else would you like from the next breed of IndyCar?
Who are you directing the question to, David?
Any all three of you actually, but
Yeah, I think obviously IndyCar is spearheading that, the new car with Dallara. But you know, for what we're looking out of it, obviously a lighter car. You know, the current car has grown in weight. A lighter car certainly is a higher performing car. Obviously, there's been safety innovations that have been adapted to the existing car that can be designed with a new chassis to make it safer. And then obviously incorporating and improving on the hybrid system. You know, we again, like we talked about earlier, it's been an amazing introduction so far, and we think the technology, there's certainly a lot more that can be achieved as we progress here. So those are certainly things that I personally would expect to see with the new car.
right. And Mike?
Yeah, I without repeating what Barry said, that's not fair. I think if we look at history for the last 10 years with the car we presently race, if it repeats itself for the next 10 years, we'll be racing the same. We potentially will be racing the same car from 27 for 10 years.
Yeah.
So I think then what you have to do, if you're on the planning committee or the steering committee for the design of the race car, you have to look at where we're going to race Indy cars for the next 10 years. So the car needs to be designed to race moving forward futuristically for the racetracks that are going to be chosen where we race. That's the key to better racing. Everybody kind of talks about, well, we have really close racing, we have this, we have that. But the reality is we want to have close racing where the cars are nimble. And I'm going to just say that I think there's going to be more urban races, more street races. You need a car that is better suited to race there, that then rolls back into being able to race on ovals and natural terrain racetracks. The weight, you know, the person sitting in seat 5E at the Long Beach Grand Prix in section 14 doesn't poke the person next to him and say, hey, that car weighs 1,500 pounds. He or she should be saying, that was a great race.
Yeah.
We saw a lot of passing. We saw performance. Man, I wish my street car had that much horsepower. That's what the fans want to see. They want to see great racing. So I think we get so caught up, David, in how much does the car weigh? What do the wings look like? You know, we're technocrats here, and that's our job. That's our job. The sanctioning body's job, though, is to forecast.
Yes.
And I think that's what we should be zeroing in on. I'm not sure that should be your question, but I think that's what journalists should probably be looking at, is how is IndyCar meant to improve racing for the next 10 years over what it presently has.
Right.
And you know what? I'm not on that steering committee, and I'm not voting myself in to be on that steering committee. But I think it needs to be directed by Jay Fry. He's the one that should be in charge of it. He's the president of IndyCar, and then he should choose how that direction is set.
Right.
One of the worst things that you can have in racing is a committee, because you never come to a solution for the real problem. You come to compromise the entire time. So I think in this case, it needs clear direction from a strong personality to make those decisions and go forward.
Alex, is there anything in particular that you'd like to see done for the next gen car?
I mean, IndyCar has asked all the drivers, like if we had some inputs or not, then obviously we ask for less weight, more power, better sound, and better nice looking car. Like, I mean, that's what you want as a driver. You just want more power, less weight. So honestly, at the end of the day, I don't care. As long as all the drivers, we have the same car, which is what we will have. I don't mind. I think IndyCar has been focusing and has been doing a really good job on safety in the car. And as long as that continues with the same standard, from my point of view, I don't really mind at all. Like I'll get used to whatever they put. And I think it's not my job to now say, oh yeah, we need this, because I honestly don't have an idea if less weight or more power or less power how's that gonna affect the racing. So yeah, I'll just stick to driving at the moment, and I'll drive whatever they give me. It'll be fine for me.
Excellent, gentlemen. Well, thank you so much for spending an hour with us this morning. We really appreciate that. And see you at the track soon.
EPARTRADE is a digital platform that we've created basically to make life easier in the business community of auto racing.
EPARTRADE, there is no e-commerce. It's literally a connection just like at a trade show. So now, any time of the year, a buyer could reach out to a supplier.
When you see a product that you're interested in, all you need to do is click on request more information, and then from there it is forwarded directly to the buyer or to the supplier.
EPARTRADE really eliminates having to travel, closing down your shop. Now you have a place to showcase globally your racing product and technology.
Looking for a quick fix of motorsports news? The Speed Sport Daily is what you need. It's a free racing newsletter delivered directly to your email every day. We'll cover the winners and the losers and tell you who's making news off the track. It's NASCAR, NHRA, World of Outlaw, INDYCAR, and so much more. Go to speedsport.com today and get signed up for America's free racing newsletter and get your daily motorsports fix. The Speed Sport Daily.
Land speed record holder George Poteet's Speed Demon rocketed 481 miles per hour at the Bonneville Salt Flats. You don't go that fast without ARP fasteners.
There is no way that we could go the speed that we've gone, the number of times we've gone, with a lesser quality bolt than ARP supplies to us, and we absolutely wouldn't be where we were today if it weren't for ARP.
When failure is not an option, it's ARP-bolts.com.
We're Performance Plus Global Logistics. Our team of dedicated performance industry and logistics experts get valuable cars and components to the track on time in top condition. We provide expedited logistics solutions for the performance industry using direct routes instead of deferred options, and communicate all necessary information to the appropriate resources to meet regulations and ensure a smooth transit and secure delivery, both domestically and internationally. And we exceed customer expectations by providing best-in-class service with an efficient and cost-effective system in place. Contact us today to book your next shipment.
Scott Lewis & Associates, the sales, marketing, and branding specialist for the automotive performance industry since 1988. We get our manufacturers on track by opening an extensive distribution network, providing product training to sales staff, creating fully integrated sales and marketing strategies, building successful industry partnerships, attending trade shows, events, and races, offering first-class support to customers. SLAI delivers solutions that win you sales. To get in touch with an SLAI representative, call 516-378-6100. Go to scottlewisinc.com or email info@scottlewisinc.com.
With roots in the Midwest that date back well before the Model T, Fifth Third Bank has a long history of serving the needs of automotive companies. While much has changed over the years, our passion for helping businesses put cars on the road and on the track has not. Today, we are more committed than ever as a member of SEMA, a founding member of PRI, and a sponsor of multiple race teams across several racing series.
For over a decade, Fifth Third Bank has been a staunch supporter of our industry and a great partner for many companies in the motorsports field.
Our business has been growing extremely fast, and really we could not be where we are today without Fifth Third. They provided amazing strategic advice, the capital we need to support our phases of growth.
They are true partners for me now, and what they do with their involvement in motorsports is untouched in this community.
Where can we take your business? Fifth Third Bank.
You work as hard as your truck, and you have no time for downtime. That's why more truck owners trust Blue Def, America's #1 diesel exhaust fluid brand. Each batch is guaranteed pure, so you can avoid costly repairs caused by inferior DEF. Demand America's best for your truck with Blue Def and Blue Def Platinum. Put trust in your truck.
When it comes to pushing the limits of performance, the pros know there's no room for compromise. At Crowder Cams, we don't just engineer camshafts and valve train components, we redefine what power means. Since 1955, Crowder Cams has been the name trusted by racers, engine builders, and gearheads around the globe. Whether you're building a street machine, a dragster, or a track car, Crowder Cams provides the muscle you need to dominate. And with Crowder, victory is within your reach.
For over 25 years, Wisconsin-based C-Tech Manufacturing has been engineering and manufacturing the toughest, most accessible aluminum tool drawers, cabinets, carts, and tactical storage solutions for America's hardest working professionals. Whatever you need to store and however you need to store it, put your trust in C-Tech Manufacturing. We build it better. Visit our new website at ctechmanufacturing.com or give us a call at 715-355-8842.
If you're watching this video, you might be wondering, what is WPC? WPC is a surface treatment designed to reduce friction and increase the strength of metal parts. As much as it might seem like a coating, WPC is actually a surface treatment Think of it like shot painting, but the media is much finer, like talc. So what you're left with is a super hard, smooth surface that actually has some proprietary dry lubricants embedded within it. For more information, visit WPCtreatment.com.